Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. It's Paulie, Esther here, and well, as many of you know, I put out a video last week saying that I believed that Scream was going to be the next chapter for Dead by Daylight Chapter 12 with Ghostface as the next killer in the DLC. And so, what's going to happen here, Paul? You going to double down on that, or are we going to go in a different direction? Let's talk about that. So this week on the Dead by Daylight Reddit, there were some sound files that were extracted by Horsepower 99. They have a history of doing this for the community, but it's been quite a while since they have done it. As far as I'm aware, digging out sound files is much more complicated than just looking through the files for upcoming cosmetics. You have to actually use a program to extract sounds from the code. I don't pretend to know what is involved in it. I just know that Horsepower 99 has done this in the past, and they had tried to do it subsequently, but failed. And now they tried something different, and they were able to extract sounds again from the code. They the last time that they had extracted sounds was after Freddy came out, so it's been quite a while, almost like a year and a half since they have provided us with any sounds. They were able to do the sound extraction again and provided a link that you could download every single sound that's in the game. And when they did this extraction, they found a group of 6 sounds that were marked as killer number 16, which, as you know, we have 15 killers. Plague was the 15th killer. 16 would presumably be the next killer. So everybody started to speculate about these sounds and what they could mean for the next chapter. So some people think that these sounds are fake, and on that regard, I would just present 3 scenarios to you. Either you believe that Horsepower extracted all of these sounds and gave us these amazing sounds that we never heard before for other things, but you think that they inserted these 6 sounds on their own to mess with everybody. Well, in that scenario, I would say Horsepower has been nothing but good to the community to provide these sounds, and I don't think there's any evidence that they would do something like this to insert these sounds on their own. So I don't think Horsepower is guilty of it. The other scenario would be that you think the devs put these sounds in to throw everybody off. And, well, I would just say, as I said before, that nobody's extracted the sounds and given them to the community for like a year and a half. So to have the forethought to think that there was some need to put in these fake sounds to throw everybody off, I would just question your logic in that. And then, when having looked at those 2 possibilities, I would say that the only possibility left would be the third possibility, is that the sounds are real, and I do genuinely believe that these sounds are in fact real. First of all, can I just say a big shout out to Horsepower for doing this for us. I enjoyed the sounds the last time they provided them to us, and this time's no exception. There's a lot of really cool stuff in here. There's even some unused ash lines, if you can believe it or not. I found 4 of them. I'll let you listen to those real quick.
Come on, kid. Push the button. What is this, a staring contest? Come on, let's go. Can we do something here? Huh. What is this place?
So there's those, and then beyond that, there's like some really ridiculous things, like some out of context Plague vomit noises. The voice actress for that must have had a great day, huh? And there's like a full 5.5 minute long version of the Huntress Lullaby, which is just beautiful. Not going to play the whole thing, but 5.5 minutes of pure lullaby. It's great. A lot of good stuff in here. So there's no way that I don't think this is real. So let's just go ahead and play these 6 different sounds that were extracted by Horsepower here. Here's number 1. And number 2. And number 3. Number 4. Number 5. And finally, number 6. That's a short one. All right, so what do we think about these? Some people think that the sounds really have a Hellraiser vibe to them. So people were like, "Oh, this is Pinhead. These sound so techno in 1980s. It's got to be Pinhead based on the sounds." And I was like, maybe there's something there. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's not Ghostface. Maybe it's not Scream. Maybe it is Hellraiser." And they even went so far as to show me this one clip of audio from Hellraiser 2, and there was like a 10-second track of audio from part of the movie, which sounded very similar to one of the sound effects in the files, and I will compare those for you here now so you can listen to them and you can see what you think. So here's the Hellraiser 2 sound. And then we're going to compare it with the sound from the files. And again, here's from Hellraiser 2. And from the files. So, what do you think based on that? Now, when I first heard these sounds, I will admit that I was like, whoa, these don't sound like Ghostface related sounds to me at all. They had, Ghostface soundtracks are much more orchestral, like it's traditional music. These sounds here sound more synthetic and techno, and they really remind me of the 1980s, which, you know, Scream takes place in the 90s, so I didn't have any connection. There was nothing in the music whatsoever that made me think, oh, this is Ghostface. If anything, when I listened to these sounds, it made me think this is not Ghostface, and I thought, here we go. I'm just going to end up in a padded cell one day. I'm going to keep going chapter after chapter. This time it's Ghostface for sure, everybody. And I'm going to be in a straitjacket in a padded cell one day. And they're just going to say, Paulie, they stopped making that game 5 years ago. And I'm like, no! And Ghostface is never coming. And I just keep thinking, next one's got to be Ghostface for sure, you guys. So when I first heard these sounds, I was like, all right, this isn't Ghostface. What's going on here? Maybe I am barking up the wrong tree. But then I got some more information that brought me back to my original theory, and let's talk about that now. So the other little nugget that dropped was once people learned that there were some sound files associated with a new killer, the data miners went in and started looking at the code, and then they found some code related to this killer number 16, and it reveals some interesting things about potentially what the power of the new killer could be. So if you see in here code name, it says Oman. Ignore that. That doesn't mean anything. That just means that it's the country code name for the killer. Remember that ever since Freddy came out, we've had a country code name alphabetically for every killer that's come out since then. Freddy was England, the pig was Finland, the clown was Guam, the spirit was Haiti, Legion was Kenya, and the plague was Mali. So we skipped some letters in between because those were the code names for the mid-chapters. So M, now we skipped N for the mid-chapter, and now we're on to O. So the country code name, I think there's only one country in the world that starts with O. You're only left with Oman, which is in the Arabian Peninsula. So that's the country code name for this killer. Oman means nothing. It's just a placeholder for the code name for the killer. So if we look into this code, we can see here where it says there's some events, then the audio events, which would lead me to believe that these sounds line up with these events. So we have spot, start, spot, stop, and then we have stalk, start, stalk, stop, stalk, survivor exposed, and then we have stealth available, stealth killer activate, and stealth killer deactivate, and stealth survivor activate, and stealth survivor deactivate. So I think that this lines up with Ghostface in that it's going to be a killer who's going to try and spot survivors, then stalk them, and then there's going to be a payoff for the stalking. This sounds like Ghostface to me. So you have this killer who's peeking on the survivors. They're going to build up some stealth, and from what this description has here, it leads me to believe that as Ghostface, you're going to find survivors, look at them for a while, and it's going to allow you to build up a power which seems to be stealth. So once you've stalked somebody long enough, you'll get to activate a stealth power, or maybe it'll just activate automatically. And then the lengths of these durations in here, I think, are the audio cues. So there would be like a map-wide sound to announce to the survivors that Ghostface has now got into stealth, and then there would be a cooldown noise for that, similar to the way that you know once Myers enters Tier 3, and you know once he leaves Tier 3 and powers back down. I think that's how this killer's power is going to work. It makes a lot of sense for Ghostface to fit this killer. It doesn't really sound like a Pinhead Hellraiser kind of character to me. This sounds like a killer who skulks in the shadows, stares at you, and then comes to get you. So this all lines up with Ghostface for me. What do you think? I really think this is some pretty strong evidence. And so then what could Ghostface do in stealth? Well, you would presume that it would be like a built-in tinkerer kind of a power, that if you stalked people long enough, that would give you the ability to turn off your terror radius and just sneak up on them, which I think sounds incredibly spooky and creepy and would definitely put you on edge. I've always said that the best killers in this game are the ones who can put you in those moments on edge when you can't hear them coming. A hillbilly who walks up to you with Tinkerer, a Myers who has no terror radius, a pig who ambushes you out of nowhere, a prayer bead spirit. Those are the scariest killers in the game, period. So this would fall in line with that. If somebody could drop their terror radius with their power by building it up, I think that sounds pretty darn cool to me. So now, when you have this code and coupled with the sounds, and you can see the durations of these events, it kind of gives you a bigger picture where you can put it together as pieces of a puzzle and match up the sounds with these powers events in the game and try and make sense of what the killer's abilities would be and what it would sound like. So, for example, based on these links, you could say that this sound here would be played when you first spot a survivor. And then when you were done spotting the survivor, you would get this event. And then after that, you would have the ability to stalk them. This would be your stalking sound while you're staring at them. Some people have said this kind of sounds like Ghostface voice changery. I don't know about that. But then when your stealth is available after you have stalked them long enough, you would have this sound. And then after that, once you actually activated your stealth, you would have this sound, which would let the survivors know you were going into stealth. And then finally, when your stealth was deactivated, you would finish with this sound. Kind of sounds like the robes flowing, honestly. But anyway, so this is just an idea. I mean, I don't know how these match up. I'm just looking at the timestamps and trying to make sense of it. That's what I came up with. It may not be right. I may be completely off the wall. That's just my idea of reading the powers and looking at the sounds and the links of the sounds, determining how to make sense of it. That's what I think. Let me know what you think. It fits in for me for Ghostface. Your mileage may vary. A couple of other things I want to address. Somebody sent me this character profile of Jane Romero, and you can see here on the right hand side that it says Sidney Prescott is the next survivor if you were to tick that button and move over one to the right. I believe this just to be photoshopped. You can see how it says escape at the bottom, so this is on a computer, on a PC. It isn't from console, and I am unable to replicate this on my own, so I don't think that this is real. I think this is Photoshop, but I just wanted to address it. And also, people have been throwing around this graduation cap offering from the Dead by Daylight game files. It's in the offering section, so people think that this is going to be the offering for the new map for Chapter 12, presumably Ghostface and Woodsboro High School. All I can say about this is that this graduation cap offering image has been in the files since September the 18th of last year. I was first made aware of it on October the 2nd. Someone sent it to me, but when you click on like the information, the properties of the image, it says that it was created September 18th, which coincides with the Spirit DLC release. I'm also told by people who kept tabs on it that the offering disappeared from the files for some time and has reappeared now. Whether or not this means anything as far as the next chapter, if it's going to be the map offering for the next chapter, I have no idea. It could just be a defunct leftover offering. We do know that Adam was connected to a school, but it doesn't really make sense that a graduation cap would be the offering for the new map rather than the Yamaoka estate map for the family residence. So the family crest offering is the offering to get the new map on the Spirit DLC for the family residence Yamaoka estate. Maybe at one point they were considering using graduation cap. Doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, but we know that Adam's like outfit is called Graduation Day and he was a teacher. No idea if this is going to have anything to do with the next chapter as far as a map offering, but people are speculating that it has something to do with the Ghostface chapter and Woodsboro High School graduation cap. Now remember, all this Ghostface and Dead by Daylight discussion started a year ago when Robert Scott Bean tweeted out to RJ Torbert saying, "I can't help but wonder where Ghostface is in Dead by Daylight." Again, RJ Torbert is the licensing director for the Ghostface mask for Fun World, the trademark holder. He's also written some novels about Ghostface. And then RJ Torbert wrote back to Robert Scott Bean saying, "Working on it, stay tuned. In fact, when it's ready, I'll let you make the initial announcement." How does that sound? That goes back to April 22nd of last year. And then it was followed up with RJ Torbert on April 1st making this tweet that said, on May 28th, Robert Scott Bean is going to be making a major Ghostface announcement. Always keep your promises. Again, the promise is that he would allow Robert Scott Bean to be the one making the announcement. Some people said, oh, this is on April 1st, so that means something. I don't believe it means anything. I think that the fact that it's on April 1st means anything. I mean, I don't believe it is a prank, because normally you would let somebody off the hook if it was a prank. I think it's just inconvenient timing that the tweet happens to be on April 1st. And once you see that Robert Scott Bean followed that up with some tweets that said, "Happy birthday, RJ Torbert. Thank you for being such a generous man and the type of decent human being that spreads kindness and positivity wherever you go," you can see that they have a pretty good relationship. My last video drew some attention to Robert Scott Bean. We're trying to get him some followers just because, you know, if he's the one who's going to make the announcement, then I feel like a lot of people should be his audience for that announcement. I'm certainly following him, and I plan on retweeting whatever it is, whether it's Dead by Daylight or not. Some people said it could be another video game, which is entirely possible. Some people speculated Mortal Kombat 11, but I think the whole roster for Mortal Kombat 11 has been leaked already by the Dana Biners. And last year, The Nightmare may be a possibility, but unless they change their game completely, I personally, if I want to play Ghostface in a game, I want to play just Ghostface. I don't want to switch between Ghostface and the Giant and the Strangler. I want to just play Ghostface. So unless they change the way their game works, if it's like, okay, Ghostface is dead, now you can play another Ghostface, then that would be something. But I don't think it's last year. Friday the 13th, that would require a whole lot of work on that game, and I think that game is in decline. So Dead by Daylight seems like it is the most likely candidate. Robert Scott Bean, since my last video, put out some other tweets and some Instagram stuff, all of it Scream related, none of it dissuading me in my opinion that Ghostface was coming to Dead by Daylight. He has since deleted all of that stuff. I mean, the internet is forever. I even have screen grabs of some of it, but I'm not going to put it up because I don't want to embarrass the guy or cause any problems for him in his moment being able to make this announcement. I will say, however, that he did say that he knows what the surprise is. And there was one point where he said, if I can get to 1,000 followers, that maybe I'll spill some secrets. At which point, I think that threw up some red flags for some people, and they told him, whoa, you need to cool it here. We said May 28th, not April 28th, and I think that's what led to the mass deletion of all the things that he had posted. Some people think he deleted it because he was part of this prank. I don't agree. I do genuinely think there is going to be an announcement on May 28th. And I do think that it's going to be that Ghostface is coming to Dead by Daylight. Of course, this is just my opinion. I could be entirely mistaken. But hey, if you want to give Robert Scott Bean a follow, do that. But please be respectful to the man. You know he's under this deadline where he can't say anything until May 28th. So please don't pester him. Just quietly follow him, support him, and wait for his moment to make the announcement. And let's applaud him no matter what it is. Even if it isn't Dead by Daylight, that's not his fault. If anything, it would be my fault for steering you towards him. Don't harass the man, please. Certainly follow him if you want to be there and hear the announcement straight from him. But please don't harass the guy because he doesn't deserve that. And again, like looking at my calendar that I did a mock-up of last time. So we would have the tweet coming out on May 28th from him, possibly, let's say, if there's a teaser video prepared, and then he's the one given the link. It's on like Dead by Daylight's channel, but it's unlisted or something. He's the one given the link, and he's the one who can first put out the teaser for it. Maybe that's something that would happen. We would be expecting a new PTB to come up, so from May 28th through the end of the month, you would expect some teasers until June would happen, when the calendar would lead us to believe that June 4th would be when the Chapter 12 PTB would come out. This is all assuming that we're on the same kind of schedule that we've had for all of Year 3, which is 12 weeks between chapters. So it would be Chapter 12 PTB on the 4th, which presumably we would have teasers leading up to it. We would know the identity of the killer before that. PTB on June the 4th, and then the full chapter release would be June 18th. PTB, for those who don't know, would be public test build, where the PC gets to test the new chapter content. So I'm sticking with this. I think that's what it is. Be nice to Robert Scott Bean. He didn't do anything to you. So if you want to follow him, but don't give him any heck, no matter how this all shakes out, okay? Thank you. So that's all I have for you today. I know there is a big Hellraiser Pinhead coalition out there. Have I changed your mind at all? Do you still firmly believe that Pinhead is coming to Dead by Daylight? Or has any of this changed your mind, and are you in the Ghostface camp? Or do you think it's neither and I am just a big old Looney Tune? Anyway, thanks for watching. Take care of each other out there in the fog. Bye-bye.